What's going on, guys? Jay here. In the video today, I'm sharing a tweet that ICT sent yesterday for Father's Day, and it's kind of a challenge for everybody who has a YouTube channel, but it was directed at you guys. So basically what he said is, do you know a trading mentor? Well, ask them to create a video on YouTube this week and discuss what setup they would trade if they could only trade that same setup for the rest of their life and show an example in execution. So I responded to ICT and I said that this is pretty much what I do on this channel. Obviously I didn't get a response from him, but I think it's important for you guys to understand the message that he's saying is that if you're going to take advice from somebody, just make sure that they can walk the talk. I have shown quite a few examples of my live trading on this channel, and I believe that the numbers speak for themselves. You're very familiar as well with the protocol that I've been using, and if you don't know how to get it, you just need to go on the Nexus Blast website and then go to resources and tools and scroll down at the bottom where you have the video of how I explain to take the setups. And then you have the trade protocol as well as the forward testing data that's validating the numbers for this strategy. I would like to congratulate some of you for actually using this already and having a lot of success. This is the payout for me, is seeing that you guys have trusted me and that you're using the strategy and it's working effectively for you. Now there's some people that are not convinced and they think that everything is easy in hindsight. You just find the perfect fair value gap, mark it, send some charts over to Twitter and YouTube and voila. Well, I'm not going to let that one slip, because what I teach on this channel and show you, I execute. I want to honor ICT's request. I don't know how many trades I'll be able to take this week. I've got some stuff going on. So I decided I was just going to share with you the trade that I took last Friday. And there's a lot of interesting elements that will help you with your trading as well. Please stay for the entire video as I'm dropping you an absolute gold nugget by the end of this video. You guys are going to love it. So stick around. It's important for you guys to understand that what I'm seeing now is what I'm confronted with when I step up to the plate and open TradingView. This is the only information that I have in order to build my setup. So what is it that we're looking for? If we look at our protocol, we're going to go step by step to make sure that these items are checked off. So right now I have an interesting risk reward trade. I've marked out my break of structure and I see that the previous session's liquidity has been taken. The London high has been rated. So I am looking at a short. We are in premium on pretty much every time frame. So I mark out my 50 fib on the displacement leg that created the break of structure, and there's a nice juicy bearish fair value gap there, and I got triggered at the 50 fib, and I call this, for me, is the sniper entry at 50 fib. So my stop loss is clear of the candle that made the fair value gap. If ever that level gets broken, for me, the trade gets invalidated and it's probably going to move bullish after that. So I wouldn't want to be in the trade after that anyways. So the trade is going against me a little bit in the beginning, but I take quite a bit of drawdown, but my levels are still being respected. And then my strategy is that TP1, where that small fair value gap resides, I would want to break even and start trailing my stop loss. I added another position here because we're very, very close from the take profit. And if I would have waited a little longer for my second entry, I would have had a lot more profit out of this trade. So now these are 5-minute candles, so it's moving pretty fast here on the chart. But once we hit that TP1, we're going to break even, and then we're going to try to attempt to reach that second TP, which is the opposing liquidity pool, which is the London low. So once the TP1 gets hit right here, we start trailing our stop loss. The same logic applies, is to have the candle that created the fair value gap, to have the stop loss at the top of that. Sometimes I use the swing, sometimes I use the candle that creates the fair value gap. It really depends on what you're seeing, but both are valid. Smart money concepts will say to use the candle that has printed the fair value gap. So I am trailing the stop loss. I wanted to see this trade go much lower to TP2 and TP3. But this trade is already taking much longer than I had initially anticipated, and I'm not a fan of high resistance liquidity runs, so I get stopped out there. But if I had waited a little longer, it came to retest my entry, and then it absolutely melted in the afternoon, but that trade would have taken a very long time. It's always a good thing to evaluate yourself or your trade after it's been done as well. So this checklist doesn't come handy only to take the trade, but also to review it afterwards. So if we take a look at this checklist and see if we missed anything, if we start at step number 1, identify liquidity rate of London high is what we did in that situation. Identify the premium and discount zone, so we were in premium all the way. Avoid and or clear high impact red folder news events. We were actually in a red folder news event at 10, but I only consider FOMC, CPI, PPI, and NFP. So the other orange and red folder news, I consider them as catalysts, and it helps the market move where it's supposed to go a little faster. We identified the liquidity graph, so the blue line got tagged, it became red, and then we marked out the breakup structure that was required in order for us to have a valid reversal and a setup. So once the breakup structure was completed, we saw the candle body and displacement go through the breakup structure, and then it left a fair value gap on 5 minutes. We look for that fair value gap to show support for the following candles, which it did. It wicked in that zone many times. And then check to make sure that the fair value gap is building up on previously opposing fair value gap. In this situation, it's not so clear. You can argue that it did or it didn't. So we're just going to assume that this was not checked. And then we pre-filled the trades stop loss and take profit. We had a minimum 1 to 2. Even if we took partials, the initial trade idea was greater than 1 to 2. And then in this case, we entered a limit order when the fair value gap was retested and the trade did offer a minimum potential of 10 handles. So in this situation, if I had to give myself a grade for this trade, I think it was fairly well executed from the get-go. The trade management was okay because I closed it off a little earlier and it would have yielded its entire potential. So I would like to say that this was maybe a 8 on 10 in terms of trade setup and execution. And now for the golden nugget that I promised you at the beginning of the video. I was approached by a developer who said that he was able to code the indicators that we manually have to put in the chart. So the vertical lines, the horizontal lines, the blue, the red lines, etc. He was kind enough to take my feedback and improve on it a little bit. And he came out with an indicator that basically does all of the work automatically for you. And this is how you get it. So you're going to search in the indicators, session range highs, and it's by Asa M. Julian. That's the one you want to click on. Once you click on it, you see that everything is automatically rendered. Now go into the settings and then make those settings what you want. So I just put them at the default colors that I'm used to. So red is when it's rated, blue is a valid liquidity pool, and then you can also change the color for the midnight separator. And then this automatically renders all of the previous liquidity zones on your chart. And I don't know how far back this goes, but it goes back really, really far. So if you guys are happy with this, please smash the like button and subscribe to the channel because I have a lot more tools like this in store for you guys. And please make sure to thank the developer in TradingView. Write him a quick message. He's going to appreciate it a lot. So guys, thanks for watching and have a great day.